Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Natasha and this is a video for Free Pattern Friday. I hope you're doing really well and I hope you're managing to get a little bit of time to yourselves. Life gets us down at time to time and it's always lovely to be able to take time for yourself doing things that really matter to you. So make sure that you have got time for that and be kind at all times. Okay, so what patterns have I got for you this week? I have found some oven mitts and I've also found a few blankets. Now that the weather is getting a little bit chilly as it is today, I just thought I would concentrate really on some blankets so that we can have a go at making some and snuggle in under and make ourselves feel comforted by the fact that you can stay warm whilst working on some lovely projects. And then I've just got a few amigurumi that I found, but they're not really significant in a sense of just something that I was really searching for. I just saw them along the way and thought that would do, just so that I could have an amigurumi chapter this week. Even so, I think you might like them. Anyway, let's get on with it. So I said that I had some oven mitts. The Inspirations call them kitchen mitts, but I found these and I thought that they would be quite fun for some sharp lovers, and also just if the children are just sort of getting into cooking and things, and obviously if they're guided and a little bit just old enough to to actually be able to use them safely, I thought it might be just a quirky quick idea for you to give them as a gift or anything. And this is Jaws for Your Paws, and it's a crochet kitchen mat. And this is the yarn that they suggest is a lily sugar and cream, and they suggest to use a 5mm crochet hook. Well, yes, of course I do recommend using cotton, but not necessarily the sugar and cream. If you don't have it, you can just go back to your good and old trusty one that you really enjoy using, And the cotton is a medium 4 weight, and the measurements are approximately 6 inches wide and 11 inches in length, or 15 by 28 centimeters. And the instructions are to join all rounds with a slip stitch to the first single crochet, and you start off by chaining 20. The gauge is 15 single crochets over 14 rows to make a 4-inch or 10 centimeter gauge swatch, and then basically it goes right into the pattern. But this pattern came out on the 16th of June 2020, but I just thought that I would show you because I found it along the way and I hadn't done oven mitts for a long time, and I thought they were quite quirky as well, so I just thought I would show them to give us quite a quirky start to this edition of Free Pattern Friday. Now I found a cosmetic pouch, and you don't need to use them necessarily for cosmetics, but obviously Christmas is coming and it would be nice to make it for, even if it's a crafter, to keep crafty bits and pieces in, or someone that just loves makeup and giving them that homemade touch is such a good idea to be able to make them feel like really special, because you've actually put time in to make it as well. And this is the Ava cosmetic pouch. The skill level is intermediate, and that will be because of the fact that there is colour work involved. And the crochet hook recommended is a 3mm, and the materials you need that's needed for this is a 25cm zipper, a darning needle, stitch marker, and some patience. And they're saying to use rainbow cotton 8/4, but of course again you can use your own, and also I don't see why you couldn't use yarn for this either. It may not be as tough, and it may well stretch a little bit, but I don't see that it would be a problem if you used a suitable enough stitch. And you need to learn, and you need to know how to work in the back loops and single crochet. There is a, as usual, there is a link to purchase the rainbow cotton if you want to have a go at using that, but the pattern is explained with lots and lots of photos. I've only printed off the first 2 pages, as I usually do, because otherwise I would spend hundreds of pounds on ink and paper, but they are very much the pattern is directed and detailed in photos, which I was really pleased to see, because a lot of the time, even when you read it and read it and read it, it's not always explained really well, and it's not always doesn't always click in your mind. So I did, when I saw this, I did think that it would be a really nice thing to show you, so then you can learn a new skill if you haven't yet, but you're on the borderline of actually wanting to try it a little bit. And then it says, before we start, this cosmetic pouch requires to know the tapestry crochet technique. The pouch is worked in the round so that you'll only be working on the right side. You will find this tutorial a beginner-friendly step-by-step structure that will walk you through the most important parts of the making of this pouch. Nevertheless, if you are a more experienced crocheter, you will be able to go straight into the written pattern at the end of this document. The pattern also contains a tapestry chart, as well as information on how to make the pouch in a different size. And it says that you need to use a foundation chain first off, which of course we know, don't we? Oh, sorry about that. Make sure that you leave a tail of approximately 24 inches or 60 centimeters that you'll use later on, and take a 3mm crochet hook and chain 126 with the grey yarn. That's if you're sticking obviously with this colourway. You don't have to, of course, it's up to you, and if you want to tailor it to whoever's you're making it for and use their favourite colours, then of course that's absolutely fine. But then that creates the foundation chain, and then it just explains it as you go further and further on. But like I say, I didn't actually do the whole pattern. I just did the first 2 pages. Now I've just seen my video stutter quite a lot. I'm not sure, I know I keep saying this, don't I, but I'm not sure whether it will actually come out in the video, but I've just seen it happen, so if it does, I am truly sorry, and let's hope that it just won't, because a couple of times it hasn't done, but it has obviously that I have seen, so that's just to make you aware of it, so that you know that I'm aware of it. Okay, so Now I have found some hats and some mittens, you know, gloves, things like that, because obviously the weather is getting colder, and so I thought I would search for these especially. And this one is called the Motif Magic Christmas Hat, and I thought that this would be lovely and colourful, and also it would work up really nicely, and something that you could take your time on if you really wanted to. But I like the fact that you can do it in the stages, and there's a lot going on, so you're not going to get bored. And I should imagine it would work up really quite quickly as well. It wouldn't take a lot. The designer is Svetlana Avarak. Probably slaughtered the name, but I'll put it in the description box below anyway, so you can have a go yourself. Anyway, the yarn used is a classic wool worsted, which is a medium 4 weight. The skill level is easy, and the hook that they recommend is a 4.5. Again, if you're using something different, then of course make sure that you do take notice of the yarn band and be able to make sure that you can use the hook that you need for it. This is indeed a new pattern, and it came out on the 27th of September this year, and so I thought that I would take the opportunity of sharing something new with you today. And the stitches are double crochet, half double crochet, decreases, half double crochet, 2 togethers, single crochet, and as long as you know what the right side and the wrong side is, I'm sure you'll be fine. But I just thought it'd be really lovely, and I'm sure once you've worked out the sizes and things, then that'll be fine. It says that there's one size to fit an adult, but of course you could always just alter it even to be able to fit a child if you wanted to do one for a child too. The gauge is 15 single crochets by 17 rows, which equals 4 inches or 10 centimetres. And that's really all I can say about it. But I thought I would show you anyway, because like I said, it's brand new. Okay, so now we have some texting gloves. Now I quite like these. I thought these would be quite fun because it looks like they've got bobble hats on the bottom, so you can peel it back so you can actually do your texting and then push it back onto the top of your finger again. And so I thought that these would be lovely to show, because I'm sure they'd work up quite quickly and be able to be made for Christmas gifts. Now it's designed by Sarah Delaney, and it's one size fits most, and they're suggesting to use Red Heart's Heart and Soul, and for this you'll need 2 balls if you're using the same, and the crochet hook is a 3.25. Of course you can just use any yarn you like, and the note on the instruction is that the index fingers and the thumbs flip back and are buttoned open whilst using the phone. The special abbreviations are foundation single crochet and extended single crochet, extended single crochet 2 together, and front post single crochet. But and of course back post single crochet. Now if you are looking to be able to try new stitches and try new techniques, I think this one would be ideal to do it with. And for the glove hand, they're saying to use foundation single crochet of 30, and then join the round to make to slip stitch it so that it slips it to the round to make it fastened. then it goes straight into the pattern. But the gauge is 18 stitches, which equals 4 inches or 16 rows, and it does say to check your gauge to use any size hook to obtain it. So of course, if you're using something different, of course, hold on, I have something in my eye, sorry about that. If you do have another yarn that you want to use, just make sure that you use the appropriate hook. Okay, so they are the texting gloves, and I thought that they would be quite cool. Now we're going to move over to some mittens, which is a bear and a kitten. Now, I'm not sure whether or not I have shown these before, because I think I might have right at the beginning, and I mean I've been doing this nearly for 6 months now, haven't I? I think something, maybe 6 months. I know it's at least 20 weeks, so I'm not sure, but I thought I'd show you them anyway, so it would be a refresher rather than going back to have a look at my patterns or not. Anyway, the designer is Barbara Selstock. I don't know. Sorry if I've butchered the designer's name again. The approximate time to make this, to make one pair, is 4 hours by estimation. I suppose that really depends on how fast you are as a crocheter, but that's what it says on here. The directions are given for the kitten pattern, but it changes for the bear pattern are in the parentheses, and parentheses are, if you didn't know, the brackets on the end. And the mitten measures 3.5 inches wide and 7 inches high, or in length, and they're using Red Heart Super Saver. And then it gives details of what you need for the kitten and also then what you need for the bear. And the crochet hook is a 3.5mm hook, and you'll need a yarn needle. The gauge is 17 stitches per 4 inches or 16 rounds, and the notes say to work in continuous rounds of single crochet without joining unless otherwise indicated. Place a marker or a contrasting yarn strand in the first stitch of the round and move it up for each round, and the special stitches are front post double crochet and a single crochet 2 together. And then it just explains the pattern starting from there, and it was last updated in August 2019. So this is the most up-to-date version that we have, but I thought that they would be quite quirky as Christmas gifts. I suppose you could even use them as finger puppets, like, you know, hand puppets. Now, I'm going to start and show you some blankets now that I found. But first of all, I'm going to show you the Christmas character blanket pattern, which, as a lot of you know, if you've stuck with me on my channel for a while, you will know that I started it a while ago, and I've still got the faces to put on for the Santa and the elf, and indeed the reindeer, I think. I think I've done most of the reindeer actually. Without looking, I'm not sure which, so I do need to complete this one myself, but I thought I would show you in case you wanted to do it, and it does work up really, really well. And it's just, oh, I'm sorry about that, my cat is sat on the table and he's having a scratch. Can you stop that please, Leonard? Thank you. And so I have done the backgrounds, and the backgrounds are worked up so quickly, and I personally have used double crochet, which in UK terms is a treble, and it works up even quicker, and I love to sit there and just just do it, you know, without even actually having to think. And I did mine extra wide because I wanted to finish off and reduce my balls, my stash then of yarn, and so I used a whole ball for each one, and just made it a bit more wider, so then the whole family could sit on the sofa underneath it, and I thought it would be really, really lovely at Christmas. So I do have to finish my own, but I thought that I would show you. And also the pattern is in conjunction with Repeat Crafter Me, and there is a bonus one of the gingerbread that can be added as well, and that is on Sarah Zimmerman's website. But all in all, it's really, really good, and I love the pattern. The only thing I'm struggling with at the moment is the elf's face, because I can't get it to sit right. But I have spoken about it endlessly with my friend Sally over at Nanny Moon's Crochet. Hi Sally. And she has said just to basically just keep going and do the whole thing, because it might actually spread out and lie down as I and it may lay down as I increase it. So I am hoping to continue with it and see if it does actually work out that way, because it would be really lovely to finish this one. And the measurements are approximately 35 by 40 inches. Of course mine's bigger because I used whole balls of wool and not just 15 rows. And the gauge is 13 single crochets over 14 rows to make it a 4-inch gauge. Now again, I haven't worried about gauge with mine because I wasn't worried about it. I just wanted to stash my to go through my yarn stash and make it a larger blanket, which is family sized, but of course you can just do it whatever size you like and not necessarily do the same as I. But the notes on the instructions are that the blanket is worked in 4 stripes side by side to create the character panels, and then you chain 2 at the beginning of the row, and the round does not which does not count as the stitch, and then chain 3 at the beginning of the row. The chain 2 does not count as the beginning stitch of the row, but the chain 3 does, and that rounds are joined with a slip stitch to the first stitch. And the skill level is easy. They're using Burnett Super Value, which is a 4 medium weight, but of course you can use anything you like. I'm using DK for mine, and it's worked up absolutely fine. And this was originally, well, I say originally, I don't know the original one, but it was last updated on May the 1st, 2022. But I wanted to make sure that I mentioned it again, just in case you do want to make it in time for Christmas, because it is doable. Okay, so let me just have a quick drink. Now, this one here I saw on social media, and so I thought, well, I need to search for this pattern, and when I typed it in I realised that it was a Yarnspirations pattern, and so this is my reason for showing you it today, just because it's a free pattern and we need to celebrate that, don't we? Anyway, the pattern is called Texture World Crochet Blanket, and it uses Karen tea cakes, and you need 5 of the marine green and 5 of the sunset stroll, if you're using the Karen tea cakes, of course. If not, use whatever yarn you like, because it doesn't matter. But I fell in love with this colourway. I don't have any of the Karen tea cakes, but I do think that with a couple of cakes it would work up absolutely fine in any colour. And I also, the other thing that I like about this pattern is that the edges aren't straight, and they're not meant to be straight. It doesn't matter. And so I love that about it, because it's just doing something that you although I know a lot of us think, oh, you know, it's a bit like out your comfort zone because the lines aren't straight and things like that, but I do love that for this, because or I do love this for that, just because then there's no emphasis on having to pull it back because it hasn't sat right, if you know what I mean by that. But I also like this because you're always going to be kept interested, because it's used as a sampler blanket as well, and different the different stitches will be met by different colours as you go up, so it is a very, very lovely thing. And the measurements are 50.5 inches by 60 inches, and the gauge is 7 single crochets by 8 rows, which equates to 4 inches. And they're saying to, as for the abbreviations, that there's popcorn stitches and double crochet front posts and double crochet back posts, and the notes are to join a new colour, work at least 2 or 3 loops of the previous colour, yarn over with the new colour and draw through the remaining loops and proceed with the new colour. Chain 2 at the beginning of the row. It does not count as a half double crochet. And they're suggesting to use an 8mm crochet hook with this. Now, I like the fact that there is a diagram for those of you that work in the diagrams, and it's got the stitch key there as well, and then it goes pretty much straight into the pattern. But they're suggesting that the Karen tea cakes are a super bulky weight number 6, but again, yes, I agree with using yarn cakes because of the colour variation, and I think it would work up really lovely. But of course, you don't need to. But wouldn't that be lovely to learn new textures and stitches? And I just love it. I really, really love it. And so I had to show you, and it had to be a part of it. I even thought, my goodness me, last week when I was talking about whether I should stop doing the free pattern Fridays or not, because I really wasn't sure whether to carry on, I thought, well, I have to tell everyone about this, and it kind of gave me the renewed inspiration to come and show you, because when I find new patterns that I really, really love, I just love to share them. And I think I'm going to do that anyway, no matter whether I have a video specifically for free patterns or whether I just have a small section on my episode videos. I really don't know at the moment, but I do really love the fact that things like this still give me the renewed thing to say, come and have a look what I found. I really, really love it. Now, this time I have found one that's called the Country Fresh Blanket, and the skill level for this is intermediate, and they're saying to use Patrons Decor. Again, you don't really need to use that, that's fine. You can use whatever yarn you want to, and the instruction notes for this is to change colours, working at least 2 loops on the hook of the previous stitch and draw the new colour through, and then working with more than 2 colours within the row, carry the colour not in use loosely across the top of the previous row and work new stitches around the carried colour. Chain 2 at the beginning of the row does not count as a half double crochet. The gauge is 14 single crochets and 17 rows to make a 4-inch gauge swatch, and the measurement is approximately 53 inches by 58 inches, or 134.5 by 147.5. The crochet hook needed is a 5mm hook, but of course if you're using whatever yarn that you'd like, just make sure that you use the one that the yarn suggests. I always do my blankets drapier to make sure that they're not really stiff, and I think the same goes for that blanket that I showed just now. If it's because it's different, because it is different stitches, I do find that it's better to use a bit bigger hook so that it will be a bit more flexible, because of the fact of the different stitches pulling it in and out, which is why the sides aren't always going to be straight, which is what I like about that one before. And this one is much the same, but I really do like the fact that there's always something different to do. Although it does repeat, it starts and does it, you know, some of the way up, and then it just repeats and repeats. But it just keeps you interested, and then you kind of find yourself waiting for the pattern to begin again. And so that is the Country Fresh blanket. Now I've just got a few more. There's 3 more blankets left to show you. Now this one only gives you a very small window to see it in, which I was quite annoyed about, because when you actually go onto the pattern it does show you it a bit bigger, but when it got printed out it was only a very small window. And this is called the Bernat Softy Baby Harlequin blanket. If you can hear snoring, it's my cat. Anyway, the measurements are 31.5 inches by 39 inches, and they say to use Bernat Softy Baby, but of course you can use whatever yarn you like. And a 5mm hook for this, and the instructions are to make 20 motifs, so I'm assuming that that is 20 squares. And they have got a diagram, harlequin diagram, to know where to put the precise squares. But I like the fact that it starts off as a circle, goes to a square, and then you've got the bobbly bits around the edge. And I just thought it'd be something different, and it'd be really nice, especially if you've got a child with sensory issues. It would be lovely for them to scrunch it and to touch it all the time, and I think that that would be really, really nice. And it goes straight into the pattern. Leonard, you need to stop now. And so yeah, I thought I would show you that one, just because I thought it was something that was quite unique for a baby blanket. Now we've got a Summer Mist crochet throw, and it's designed by Kim Guzman, and it was produced on the 6th of January 2021. So I'm a bit late to the party on this one, but I did like the fact of the effect. Now the picture didn't really come out that well, so you wouldn't really be able to see it, but this pattern has been reviewed on the Yarnspirations website several times, and there is several people's photos of them actually having completed it, so you can take a look at it there. The skill level is easy, and they're suggesting to use Karen £1, but again, if you don't want to use that, that's fine. Just use whatever you feel comfortable with. And if you are using something that is a medium 4-weight yarn, then the hook that they are suggesting is a 6.5mm. The instructions to note are that to change colour, which we've talked about before, where you just do 2 loops and then draw 2 loops of the new colour. And the pattern multiply for this, because you can choose whatever size you want to have it, they're suggesting to chain 110, but the pattern multiple is 6 plus 2. Right, get down off the table please, because you're shaking my camera. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, the pattern multiple is 6, chaining 6 plus 2, so in multiples of 6. So if you didn't want to have a chain of 110, then you don't really need to, and if you want it longer than that, as long as it's multiples of 6 and then you add 2 on the end, you'll be fine. The measurements for this is 49 inches wide and 58 inches long, and I like this one because of the zigzag. Now again, you can't really see it, but I love the zigzag and I just love the pattern, especially where it kind of interlocks. It's really nice. There's one on the back which I don't know if you can see it properly, but I do like the fact that it interlocks, and it is quite nice to see the 2 colours together and everything. So yeah, that's the reason why I wanted to show you that. So that was the Summer Mist crochet blanket. And then last but not least, we have got the crochet flower bed blanket. Now I thought this one was bright and cheerful, and it made me smile when I first came across it, and so I had to share it with you. And although I haven't printed it out, that they do have a grid in the pattern with the numbers. So you would do X amount of squares in each different colourway, and then it would tell you, so it would be like A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, and so all the ones that are purple flowers with the yellow background, that would be A, or 3 for argument's sake, and it will tell you how to place it to be exactly the same as the blanket, and I quite like that too. The blanket pattern was created on the 30th of September this year, so it is very new, and so I had to show you because of the fact of bringing something new to the table. And they're suggesting to use Red Heart all-in-one flower power for this, and also a Red Heart Super Saver. They want you to use a 5.5mm hook, and it's a medium 4-weight yarn. Again, use your favourite yarns, don't worry about it. Just make sure that you use a hook that you're comfortable with and that is suitable for the yarn. Again, I like to use a bit bigger hook than for blankets than what the ball band recommends, but that is of course up to you. Half double crochet, single crochet and treble crochet is the stitches that you need to know, along with the slip stitch and the together ones, and being able to stitch up squares together would be something that you need to kind of have a bit of experience at, really. The notes are the motifs beginning with the colour number 1, which is the shortest colourette from the centre of the pull skein, leaving 4 inches tail to weave in. The second and third rounds will be worked in colour 2, 4th, 5th and 6th rounds will be worked in colour 3. If too much colour is left at the end of the round, pull back some stitches and lightly loosen the gauge to rework the stitches and finish the colour change. If it's too little colour that's left, pull back some of the stitches and slightly tighten your gauge to rework and finish the colour change. Leave approximately 24-inch tail. 24-inch, that can't be right, can it? Leaving approximately 24 inches or 61 centimetre tail with the third colour at the end of the motif. Chain 3 at the beginning of the round counts as a double crochet. Chaining 2 at the beginning of the round does not count as the stitch. Joining all the rounds with a slip stitch at the first stitch unless otherwise stated. You make 16 of each. If you see the diagram on page 2, which I haven't printed out, but you will see it once you have a look at the pattern yourself. Chain 4, join with a slip stitch to the first chain and form a ring. The measurements is 50 inches square. I don't know if I told you that or not, but because it was new, again, I thought I had to show you. Now, it looks like my video is jumping around like nobody's business. I haven't reset my camera on my phone because I thought I did it last time and normally it's okay. So if this video is a bit of a washout and a carbosh, as I call it, I'm really, really sorry, but it seems to be jumping around quite a lot. But I'm 40 minutes in and really don't want to have to redo it. Now I'm going to show you some amigurumis that I found, and I thought this one was funny because it's a raccoon with some mittens on, and I just thought, what the heck, I'm going to show you just because it made me smile. Anyway, this one is a raccoon ornament. This playful crochet raccoon will sit sweetly on your mantle or add a woodland touch to your tree. He wears warm mittens for playing in the snow. They're suggesting to use Red Heart Soft. But again, use anything you like that you love to use. It will be fine. The designer is someone that I don't even want to try and suggest to read it to you because I have no idea. But again, when you have a look at the pattern, if you're interested in it, then you'll see who the designer is. A 4mm hook they're suggesting, and it is a medium 4 weight. As long as you can't see holes in the stitches so that the stuffing pokes out, I think it'll be fine anyway. But of course, use whatever you want to use. The special stitch is the single crochet 2 together for this one. The raccoon measures 7 inches or 18 centimeters tall, and the notes are that the small quantities of B, C and D are needed in this project. The gauge is not crucial, working tightly so the stuffing does not show through, which is what I've just said. For sections working in continuous rounds, place a marker at the beginning of the round and move the marker up as each round is completed. Do not join rounds until instructed to do so. To change the colour, work the last stitch of the old colour into the yarn to the last yarn over, and then yarn over with a new colour and draw through all the loops on the hook to complete the stitch. Proceed with new colour. In some cases, the old colour can be carried up on the wrong side of the pieces when next needed. This will reduce the number of ends to weave in later. But again, I just thought he was really, really cute. Now this one is simple, and I've gone for a simpler one for anyone that is not used to doing amigurumi and wants to try it. Now this one is just it's called Fluffy the Panda, and I think it would be lovely. So because the colour change is gradual and not too taxing, and it would just, there's not very much, I mean there's stuff to sew on, but I think it would just be fine, and you will learn how to do it without having to worry about changing colours too often. The skill level is for a beginner, and the crochet hook is 4mm and 5mm. The approximate size is 12.5 by 7.5 inches. The materials you need are pins, stuffing, needle, safety eyes if you're using them, of 18mm, and stitch marker. The rainbow cotton, they're suggesting to use rainbow cotton, but I think any yarn will be absolutely fine to do. The chain stitches, single crochet, working 2 stitches in the same and decreasing, which is working 2 stitches together. There is a link for the yarn, which there always is, and then I just suggested, oh, and the tip, sorry, I didn't realise it was written there. You're going to crochet in continuous spirals. Do not join the rounds. Use the stitch marker or a safety pin to keep track of where your rounds begin, and a wooden chopstick is perfect for using to get the piece thoroughly stuffed. I always use the back of a larger crochet hook. That's what I use to be able to stick the push the stuffing all the way to the bottom. But I just thought that it would be lovely to be able to give someone the chance to have a go, because it does look quite simplified, and I think it would be fine for someone just starting out. And now we're going to go to a crocheted Rudolph, which is using a hook of 2.5mm, rainbow cotton of 8/4. Sorry about that, my cat has got the sneezes now. Whatever next? 2 safety eyes of 8mm if you're using safety eyes, 4 wooden beads for the hands and the feet of 12mm, soft toy stuffing, and a plastic granule. So I'm wondering what that is. Maybe it's to weigh it down a little. Measure approximately 10 centimetres. Hang on just a moment. Sorry about that. I've just let him out, so now he won't be a hassle. There's a stick. The yarn. Oh, he's put me off now. There's a link for the yarn if you want to buy the rainbow cotton, and the abbreviations are single 2 together, slip stitch, half double crochet, double crochet, of course single crochet, and magic ring, and it's approximately 10 centimetres without the legs, and I think it would be a lovely addition to any Christmas tree. Very, very cute. The legs, the arms and the legs are just the yarn that is just in chains, and then it just goes straight into the body. So there's not much else I can tell you about the pattern, but I thought it was cute anyway. And now I just have 2 left. One is the squirrel ornament, which was the same as the raccoon, but wearing a hat. I just think is lovely. And the squirrel ornament says, underneath it says, go for a natural woodland look this year and add this adorable squirrel to your mantle or your tree. He's crocheted with a nice long tail and has a cute face that is topped with a winter hat. They're suggesting to use Red Heart Soft again, which is a medium 4 weight. The crochet skill level is easy, and it is still by the same designer as I was talking about for the raccoon, which I will not butcher. So you'll see it when you look at the pattern if you do want to do the same one. And they're using a 4mm crochet hook, 9mm black eyes if you're using them, and they're using 3-inch length, a 3-inch length of floral stem wire, which is optional for the tail, if you, I suppose, so that you can make it bendable. And the squirrel measures 7 inches, and the notes are just the colour change notes, which we've talked about before, and for the sections worked in continuous rounds, use a stitch marker, and do not join the rounds unless instructed to do so. And there he is in the photo there, looking rather cheeky. So that was that one. And then last but not least, we have a little penguin ornament. And he's wearing a hat and a scarf. Thought that was really cute. Add a whimsical creative touch to your holiday tree with our clever crocheted penguin. He is bundled up for winter weather with fringed scarf and tasselled hat. The designer is Nancy Anderson and he measures 5 inches tall. They're suggesting to use Red Heart Soft and a crochet hook of 3.75. The gauge is 22 centimeters. No, I don't mean that at all. Single crochets by 4 inch for a 4-inch gauge, or 24 rows. The special abbreviations are single crochet 2 together, and the adjustable loop is basically what they mean by a magic loop. And the notes are: do not join the rows or the rounds unless otherwise stated, and component pieces are worked separately and sewn together using yarn tails or sewing thread and needle. And that is all I have to say about it. The pattern was created in August 2019 and it's called Little Penguin Ornament. So that wraps up my Free Pattern Friday, everyone. And so I will see you all again on Monday. And I hope that you are all going to have a restful weekend. I am going away for some much needed mind care, and I just need to take a step back and make sure that the choices that I am making are for the best. But I will be back to show you exactly what I have been doing this week in my Monday video. So I'll see you on Monday. Take care, everyone, and see you very soon. Bye.